Hello guys, Silencium here. Today we are stepping through the Bone Eater's Well and into the world of InuYasha, a cornerstone of early 2000s anime that mixed time travel romance, yokai folklore, and road trip adventure into a single beating heart. Based on the manga by Rumiko Takahashi, one of the medium's great storytellers, the series was produced by Sunrise, with direction across its run by Masashi Ikeda and later Yasunao Aoki, and a sweeping score by Kaoru Wada that still feels like wind over rice fields. In Japan, the original television run aired from 2000 to 2004, while Adult Swim brought it to the United States from 2002 through 2006. Years later, the story finally received its closing chapter as InuYasha: The Final Act, which aired in Japan in 2009 and 2010, and reached American audiences soon after. Season 1 opens with a simple spark that becomes a bonfire. Kagome Higurashi, a modern Tokyo schoolgirl, is pulled into the Sengoku period and frees InuYasha, a half-demon pinned to a sacred tree. The Shikon Jewel shatters and the season lays out the core quest to retrieve the shards while introducing the tone that defines the show. Comedy and bickering give way to sudden violence, and then tenderness returns like rain. We meet the undead shrine maiden Kikyo, whose tragic tie to both hero and jewel turns a monster hunt into a love triangle steeped in fate. The appeal is immediate. Takahashi's yokai are colorful and creepy, the backgrounds feel lived in, and the soundtrack ties it together. Some viewers bounce off the slapstick that interrupts heavy scenes, but many fall for that tonal blend because it humanizes the myth. Season 2 expands the traveling party and the mythology. Miroku, the cursed monk, and Sango, the demon slayer, join, with Shippo as mischievous ballast. The antagonist Naraku coalesces as a true spider at the center of the web, manipulating tragedies and weaponizing resentment. The road structure remains monster of the week friendly, yet the connective tissue thickens. We learn about the jewel's origin and see how Naraku seeds fear to grow stronger. The strength here is character chemistry. Miroku's curse is not just a gag, but a ticking clock. Sango's loyalty to her brother is a wound the plot can press. The drawback for some is repetition. Naraku escapes again, shards scatter again, the party regroups again. The rhythm is comfortable, but it can feel like a drum beat when you want a crescendo. Season 3 leans harder into rivalry and legacy. Sesshomaru, InuYasha's full demon half-brother, is no longer a distant force. He is a mirror held up to the hero. Where InuYasha negotiates between human and demon sides, Sesshomaru begins to discover compassion in spite of his pride. The sword mythology with Tessega and Tenseiga becomes a thematic pillar about the weight of inheritance and what power is for. Visually, the series holds steady with early digital paint and the occasional off-model episode, yet the art direction keeps delivering eerie forests and shrines that invite the viewer to linger. Critics of this era point to recycled cuts and pacing that lingers too long on build-up. Fans answer that the quiet walks and campfires are where the relationships actually breathe. Season 4 digs into villages crushed by Naraku's plots and gives Sango and Kohaku some of their rawest scenes. The jewel shards no longer feel like simple MacGuffins. They are catalysts that reveal what people will do when offered a shortcut to strength or revenge. Romance moves in careful steps. InuYasha and Kagome circle the truth of their feelings, with Kikyo's presence a ghost that never fully leaves. The music does a lot of lifting here. Strings and flutes give the Sengoku setting a melancholy dignity. If there is a complaint, it is that solutions sometimes arrive through power-ups that feel like sudden leaps rather than earned technique. Still, the emotional math generally checks out. Season 5 raises the temperature on every arc. Kohaku's autonomy, Sango's resolve, and Miroku's curse all tighten. Kagome's spiritual growth becomes more explicit as she refines her bow work and priestess intuition. Naraku evolves like a disease, sloughing off incarnations and forcing the cast to fight the same enemy in new skins. This is where some viewers begin to ask how long the road will be. The answer at the time was longer than the initial TV run would allow. Even so, there are standout confrontations and heartfelt reconciliations that justify the miles. Season 6 functions as a prelude to a finale the original series never reaches. You can feel the production tugging between episodic television and the longer spine of the manga. The party gathers strength, clearer truths about the jewel emerge, and then the curtain drops without a definitive end. For American fans watching on Adult Swim, that unresolved finish became part of the show's legend. It was tantalizing and frustrating in equal measure. On the positive side, the journey left people invested enough to wait years. On the negative side, it left arcs mid-bloom and viewers wondering if the destination would match the promise. That destination finally arrived with InuYasha: The Final Act. After a multi-year gap, Sunrise returned with a condensed, high-intensity 26-episode sprint to adapt the manga's last chapters. The tone shifts at once. The pace quickens, the widescreen presentation sharpens the look, and the story charges directly at Naraku's heart. Characters who once wandered now move with purpose. Plotlines that simmered are resolved with clarity. InuYasha and Kagome confront not just an adversary, but the question of where and with whom they belong. Miroku and Sango face the cost of love under a curse. Sesshomaru's evolution pays off in quiet choices rather than speeches. Fans praise the final act for finally giving closure. Battles feel decisive, motives are illuminated, and the emotional ledger balances. The common critique is the opposite of the old show's problem. In closing so much so quickly, some beats arrive too fast. Secondary villains and side quests flicker past, and a few reunions do not get the space their build-up deserved. Even so, the ending lands. It honors Kagome's growth from student to true priestess and gives InuYasha a piece he could not even name at the start. Why is InuYasha loved? First, it speaks in the language of longing. Half-demon InuYasha longs for acceptance. Kagome longs for a place where her kindness matters. Kikyo longs for restitution. Sesshomaru pretends he longs for nothing, then proves himself wrong. Second, it fuses modern sentiment with old story bones. The show turns Japanese folklore into a living landscape where morality is tested by proximity to power. Third, it is a comfort watch. Travel, fight, rest, repeat. The formula soothes. Why do some not love it? The pacing, especially in the original run, can meander. Naraku's elusiveness becomes a meme. Slapstick sometimes undercuts heavy drama, and while the final act solves the lack of an ending, its rush can feel like a highlight reel. Looking back from today, InuYasha sits at an important crossroads in anime history. It bridged Saturday night television and fan forum culture. It brought folklore to Western late-night blocks and gave a generation its first brush with shrine music, foxfire, and moonlit rice paddies. It is imperfect, but it is earnest and generous. That is why its charms endure. If you are approaching it fresh, the simplest viewing order is to watch the original television series from start to finish, then continue immediately with the final act. You will feel the years between productions and the visuals and pace, but the story thread remains unbroken. I was Silentium, and this was a journey through shards, secrets, and second chances. If you enjoyed this deep dive, like the video, drop a comment with your favorite InuYasha moment, and subscribe for more anime history told with heart.